Am I the arsehole? For not helping out my daughter the right way? My 40F, daughter 21F, Kate, is pregnant by her 22 meters boyfriend Matt. Kate currently lives with me and Matt currently lives with his dad and stepmom. They want to get an apartment together but neither Kate or Matt are good with money, so they have zero savings. Kate is currently not working, quit the day she found out she was pregnant, which was about 4 weeks ago. Matt works full-time and both of them dropped out of school. I've offered if they find a place in a reasonable price range, I will take care of the deposit, help get utilities turned on, pay half the rent each month, and continue paying Kate's car insurance and phone bill. I also told them once the baby is born, I'm more than happy to help out if the baby needs formula, diapers, wipes, clothes, etc. Kate and Matt were very happy about that until they heard my caveat. My caveat is, I directly buy what they ask for. They can send me the links to what they want for the baby, but I am not going to be giving them any actual cash. Same applies with helping them with the deposit and rent. I'll write a check directly to the apartment complex. I've seen how Kate and Matt handle money, like there's just more randomly laying around. They go out, spend all weekend, as Matt gets paid on Friday, then by Tuesday, Kate is usually asking me for gas money on behalf of Matt because he's broke, she doesn't work, and his parents aren't financially stable enough to help out. Kate immediately objected to my conditions and said I'm being unfair to her and Matt, treating them like children and I should want to help out any way they need or want me to. I told Kate from past observations that my choosing to not directly give them money is not something I'm willing to discuss or negotiate on right now. If that's something Am I the asshole? For storming out of my father's house after finding out he's reconciled with my mother. I was raised by my father alongside my older brothers, Lyle and Kyle, both 23M, they're twins. Mom left us shortly after I was born, so I've never really had a maternal figure growing up. I've tried to ask my dad why Mom left, but he would always try to dodge the question. Anyways, this kind of messed me up a little bit as a kid because I would always blame myself for her leaving. And it also didn't help that my older brothers would always use the "Ole trusty, your why mama left" card in arguments. During my middle school years, my mom began to call me and my brothers. She swore up and down for years that she wanted me back in her life but didn't make any effort to get to know me. So that woman broke a lot of promises with me and my brothers. The last straw for me was when she didn't come to a beauty pageant I'd been excited for months. I know that sounds really petty, but at the time, it was really important to me, and she swore up and down that she would come. Of course, she broke that promise, too. So when Mom called to apologize for not, I let that woman have it. I think the call almost lasted an hour and a half, and it was mostly just me cussing her out. Obviously, ever since that phone call, I've been no contact with her. But a few days ago, my dad texted me if I wanted to have dinner with him and the boys, saying that he was going to make my favorite meal. Of course, I agreed. I walk in the house, and I hear my dad and my brothers talking. Nothing unusual, of course, but then I hear a woman laugh. So I walked to the kitchen and saw my dad, Lyle and Kyle laughing and talking with my mother. So, at this point, I'm pissed and confused. And I think I thought out loud because I said, "What the fuck is she doing here?" Everyone immediately becomes silent, until Dad starts talking. Basically he says that I need to watch my tone, and that all they want to do is talk to me about their future. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Then, my mother had the great idea to drop the bombshell that her and Dad got back together and had been dating for months. I think you can understand how gooped I was from this information. But then Lyle tells me that basically everyone in the immediate family knew about the relationship besides me because they were worried about how I would react. So I'm still standing there, shaking with rage. So when my dad tried to grab my arm to sit me down so we could talk, I snatched it back and basically stormed out the house. Now, I've been bombarded from texts from my dad and Lyle, saying I was immature and made Mum cry. My friends are 50-50 on it. So Reddit, am I the asshole? Not the asshole for how you feel, they blindsided you and then blamed you for your reaction. If you choose to have nothing to do with your mother, you shouldn't have to. Realize your father is an adult, free to be involved with whomever he chooses. It would have been better for your dad to talk to you alone. The fact that they all kept it from you was inconsiderate of you. I am sorry, I've been there in the sense of being left out or always the last to know. Be strong. Not the asshole. However they want to spin it, she abandoned you and your brothers. And when she did show back up, she broke promise after promise. You have no obligation whatsoever to want to stick around for the shit show it'll probably end up being. Not the asshole. Do not allow the woman who abandoned you back into your life. She has always let you down and will continue to. They said you was being immature and made her cry. WTF do they think she has done to you all your life? Not the asshole. You would be totally justified in going no contact with your family over this. They ambushed you and just decided you had to deal with it. You went through years of heartbreak, broken promises, and torment by your mother and family members. I hope you find your own way and peace. Not the asshole. The woman who abandoned you for your entire life, the woman who broke every promise she ever made to you, suddenly appears. Even worse, she's apparently strongly back in your father's life. Of course you walked out. What else were they possibly expecting? Some people like surprises. They're supposed to be good surprises, though. Your father is an for suddenly springing this on you. This is something that should have been introduced well in advance and discussed. You'd still have walked out, but at least you wouldn't have felt so betrayed. Not the asshole. Sounds like you live on your own and are self-sufficient. If so, time to go no contact with your dad and your duplicitous brothers. Your mother is basically an egg donor to you. No need to pay her any mind at all. Nata. Your mother abandoned you and that's gut-wrenching and you don't need to allow her into your life. Not the asshole. There is nothing like being ambushed by a situation and the only one that didn't know what was going on. How did they expect this was going to go? Seems pretty stupid to keep this a secret and then spring it on you. That's messed up. I can appreciate that you might have had some feelings about it even if they had included you from the restarting of getting together, but at least over the period of months you'd have time to process things. This was a bad way to handle it and I don't blame you a bit for walking out. Not the asshole, and this level of backhanded dealing would leave me very low contact for a long time. Maybe permanently. Your dad telling you to watch your tone would have been the end of that for me. Not the asshole. Honestly, I wouldn't even know where to begin to sort through all of this if I were you, Op. First thing I would want to know is the whole entire truth. Why she left in the first place. Why he accepted her back in his life. Why the lies? How can he want to be with someone who left him to raise 3 kids and then come back once the kids are grown? How can he want to be with someone who repeated hurt disappointed his kids? Why does he think she's changed? Why is everyone ignoring the big-ass elephant in the room? Is there any way for you to have a one-on-one conversation with your dad? Not the asshole. Your dad withheld information shared with everyone else, then blindsided you by inviting you to dinner when your mom was there. I don't know what they were thinking not telling you they were dating but then inviting everyone to dinner still without telling you. You have no relationship with that woman. Now you have to decide whether you want a relationship with your lying family. They ambushed you. Not the asshole for not liking that. No one would have celebrated being roped and tied in that way. Your mother's shame might have made her cry. You didn't. You ganged up on me, lied to me and watched from the shadows while she abused or ignored me, and now you want me to celebrate? Well, here's my toast, Dad. Good luck. Maybe 2 bites at that apple will be the charm. How's that for coming together like a family? Is everybody happy now? I know I am. Huzzah. You got Pearl Harbored in the worst way, and you're absolutely right for being angry. I cannot imagine why he'd reconcile, but it is what it is. Your mother never gave a shit for all the tears she caused you, and she doesn't deserve an apology. Lyle spent the past few months lying to you, so he can go shit in his hat. Your feelings are valid, your response is valid. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. What a way to break the news. Your mom was awful then and is awful now. I am so sorry that is what you had to experience. I didn't see anything past having twin brothers named Lyle and Kyle. Not the asshole. I'm sorry, Op, but I'm getting the feeling there's a lot more that your father and brothers are not telling you. Your father refusing to tell you why your mom left in the first place, and your brothers blaming you for it, which I initially would have wrote off as kids saying stupid things, and suddenly they're all ready to let her back in and have to set you up to tell you about it. Something is going on. Your father's immediate reaction is to tell you to watch your tone, when it should have been concern and support. He's the asshole. Your brothers are assholes. Your mother is a few words that I can't use because of rules. You are not the asshole. Not the asshole. They clearly ganged up on you to try and coerce you into playing along with their perfect family fantasy. Then you were insulted, shamed, and your dad tried to manhandle you into doing what he wanted. Very telling that they care about your mom crying but not your feelings. I'd say block them and go no contact for a good long while. Not the asshole. You have an absentee mom. For your whole life you were teased about being the reason she was absentee, and now they think you're asshole for having anger with her? Wow. Your family sucks. I'm so sorry, honey. Going North Carolina may be the route with the condition that you would attend therapy with both your parents. Am I the asshole for giving my stepdaughter's dog to my nephew? My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. He also has a daughter from his previous marriage. We have been living together in my house for the last 2 years, which my grandparents gifted me after I finished my master's degree because they decided to move to nursing home. When my boyfriend and his daughter moved in, I made it very clear that I do not want any cats or dogs. I don't hate animals, but I don't like pets, and these furry animals shed a lot of hair which will ruin the antique furniture in the house. I also don't want any responsibility of taking care of them. My sister wanted a dog for the longest time, but when she got one she wouldn't take him for walks or make sure his bowl was filled with water and food, so I had to carry that mental load. It was also a nightmare having to travel anywhere. BF and stepdaughter knew these terms and accepted before they moved in. When I came home from work last week, my stepdaughter surprised me with a husky pup. I'm not a dog expert, but I know this breed sheds. I asked her how did she get this dog, and she said her daddy decided to get her one as a reward for getting good grades. I was angry and confronted my BF. He said it's not a big deal and stepdaughter will take care of the animal. I told him he has 2 days to rehome the pup or I'll do it. He called my bluff, so after 2 days I decided to take the pup to my cousin's farm. His son has several dogs, so the pup will be in good company over there. My stepdaughter was crying day and night when she found out. My boyfriend also called me a bitch for taking a pet away from a child, but I don't care. It's my house and it's my rules. My BF's family have since been blowing up my phone calling me an evil stepmother for what I did, but I don't think I did anything wrong. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. Just end the relationship. With this level of disrespect from your boyfriend, this relationship will never work. Well, what you should have done is give them 2 days to leave, with the dog. Not the asshole. Such things need to be agreed on by all parties. Not the asshole because it's your house and you made your stance very clear. I feel bad for the kid because she got put in this situation by your boyfriend's bad decision, and you ended up having to play the villain. What an asshole. Like, I love dogs and have 2 of my own, but if someone says absolutely no dogs in their house, it should just be no dogs. If the BF had a problem with this, he should have talked to you first, not to mention if your main problem is shedding, why the hell did he get a goddamn husky of all dogs? Not the asshole. I came here thinking I was going to be calling you a huge but wow. Your BF is extremely disrespectful and I honestly would get out of that relationship. He knew how you felt, ignored your boundaries, then called you a bitch and told his family. You don't have to put up with that, and you deserve to be treated better. Not the asshole. Dogs aren't some prize for getting good grades, they are a huge responsibility and burden to a household. Your household, it's beyond disrespectful that your BF did this, and he should be ashamed for being so rude. You did the right thing, and I would consider the type of person who just brings a dog into a house so casually and against others' wants. So rude. Not the asshole. Tell him to pick up the dog from your cousin after he finds his new place. You never surprise anyone with a puppy, and the whole household needs to be in agreement. Not the asshole. Your boyfriend was the asshole. Also, huskies are the stubbornest and noisiest breed of dog. SD is 15. In 3 years, she's going to be leaving for college, and it is highly unlikely that she will be able to take the dog with her. It'll get left with dad and stepmom. You aren't compatible. Break up with him. Not the asshole. I made it very clear that I do not want any cats or dogs. At some point, your BF decided that you weren't really serious, and figured that it was better to beg for an apology than ask permission, apparently under the impression that if it was disguised as a gift to his daughter, you'd cave. He thought wrong. A husky? As a starter dog? Oh heck no. Not the asshole. You might be single over this, but that may be a good deal in the long run. Not the asshole who gets a dog without discussing it with their so, particularly when it's their so's home. You have a boyfriend problem. I suggest addressing it before it grows bigger. Communication has broken down and your boundaries are being trampled. Not the asshole. You made it clear no pets. Like you say, your house, your rules. If he does not like it, he can also move out as well. I love dogs, but not the asshole. One, it's your dang house. He didn't contribute to it, so he should respect your rules. And they agreed to respect those rules before moving in. Two dogs are messy, shedding, hairy, drooling, chewing, occasionally misbehaving beasts, especially as puppies. I think they're adorable, but also I do not want a puppy because of all that. 3 huskies are high maintenance, and from everything I know, heavy shedders, like enough to make another husky level of shedding. Frankly, I'd break up and insist they move out immediately, because it's quite clear that your BF doesn't respect you or your house. Not the asshole. But I think it's time for you to reevaluate the relationship. If he's willing to stomp all over your boundaries, how else is he going to disrespect you? It's like he's already decided that you have no say in the home you own. I don't want dogs. Okay, but how about a giant dog that has tons of hair? Not the asshole. Why on earth would your BF do that after you were so clear about your wishes? Especially a husky which sheds a ridiculous amount. And in your house he clearly has zero concern for your desire, or his daughter, as he thinks it's cute to set the two of you against one another. This is a devious or thoughtless man. Careful. Not the asshole, especially because getting a pet should have been a joint decision. Double not TA, because you had made your stance perfectly clear. Not the asshole. Why are you still with the boyfriend after this much disrespect? Not the asshole. Your boyfriend made a big decision that he knew went against the agreed terms for living in your house. When you confronted him, he acted like what you want didn't matter and tried to railroad you. Your boyfriend called you a bitch for sticking to the terms you agreed. When he moved in, your boyfriend called you a bitch. He got his family to call and harass you. Why are you with this loser? Not the asshole, but only slightly. You shouldn't have given away SD's dog without talking to her first. Your BF basically manipulated you by just getting the dog without discussing it with you. Now, you become bad in SD's eyes, as according to her, you took away her dog. I don't think she'll be able to see that her dad was at fault. Also, you should have kicked out BF too, not just the dog. Your house, your rules. But if I were the BF, I would leave. Not the asshole. She had this for 2 days, it was not like you took away a pet she had for years. Time to kick the 2 of them out as well. Not the asshole, although you would have done better to rehome your boyfriend as well. Not the asshole. Tell him she can have the dog back, but he will have to go find a home to rent for it to live in. Edit: like naming children, buying animals is a 2-yes conversation, not a surprise. ESH. The limit you had a right to set was rehome the dog or move out. It wasn't your dog to rehome. Just end the relationship and tell him to move if he can't respect your boundaries. Not the asshole. Huskies are absolutely the worst choice for your first dog. Not the asshole, but I think you could have just kicked them out with the puppy because your relationship is likely done and at least stepdaughter could have kept her puppy. Unless they can get it back when they move out. Even if they don't leave, do you want to be with someone who decided your views and home didn't matter as much as what they wanted? And they used their daughter to do it, which sucks for her and you. ESH. The proper response when he got the dog and then refused to get rid of it would have been to get rid of the boyfriend. He apparently thought you'd let him trample this boundary for some reason. I wouldn't want to continue that relationship. Woman shrugging, the girl was not at fault. You technically stole the dog, although I understand your frustration. I also don't understand why the boyfriend didn't go get his daughter's dog back and then look for a new place to live rather than just getting angry, but that's another matter. Am I the asshole? For refusing to give up my airplane seat to a tall person? Hey everyone, bit of a weird situation and I'm not sure if I am TA or not. Happy to have my perspective challenged. Last week I was taking a 12-hour flight that I had booked months in advance. At the time of booking I paid extra to choose my seats. The seat I chose was $55 extra and right at the front of the plane, trying to arrive somewhere on time upon landing. The seat also happened to be an extra legroom seat and I am a 4 feet 11 inches female. I check in, board, sit in my seat as usual, but as soon as the seatbelt sign was switched off I had a man come over and ask to change seats. The first time he asked politely, saying that he is 6 feet 4 inches and flying is painful for him, can we please change seats? I was open to it until I saw that his seat was way in the back of the plane, and so I told him no sorry, I paid extra to sit up front. He kind of got increasingly mad and wouldn't leave, saying that there's no reason someone of my height needs extra legroom. I told him I paid to be up front. I suggested that he ask the other people in those seats if they could swap, but he refused, saying that he wouldn't want to bother other men or split up couples. He kept getting rude and angry, so I just called over a flight attendant who told him to go sit down. For the rest of the flight he would walk past for no reason, slamming into me. I was sitting aisle. Was I in the wrong? Should I have swapped with him? Tear. My mum was 4 feet 11 inches. She often found that guys thought because she was little, she could be easily intimidated. It was usually pretty entertaining watching them try. She was the master of the quick put down. I suspect this guy picked you because he thought he could intimidate you. He could easily have paid to upgrade. Not the asshole. Next time he can plan better and do what you did, buying your seat instead of harassing the only small woman he thought he could bully into giving in. If he kept running into you, you needed to have a word with the flight attendant. Unacceptable to have to deal with violence on a plane. Every time he slammed into you, you should have called the flight attendant again to report the assault. Someone who repeatedly assaults another passenger should be blacklisted permanently by the airline. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You had your own reason that you needed to sit there. If he wanted a specific seat for a specific reason, he should have paid for it. Also WTF? He didn't want to bother other men? So he walked over and proceeded to harass a 4 feet 11 inches female instead? If anyone was to be determined TA, it would be him for such a terrible comment. Tall person here. If I want more legroom, I can pay for it like everyone else. I don't pay for the cheapest seat possible and then try to get someone shorter to give me the more expensive seat that they purchased for free. You aren't allowed to ask someone in business or first class seating to switch to a cheap seat. WTF, do they think they can do it in coach? Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Us taller folk know flying coach is uncomfortable, so if we need to be pain-free for a flight, we have to pay extra. Not the asshole. This guy was being beyond ridiculous. As a tall person myself, I sympathize that flying is uncomfortable, but I'd never go around demanding other people's seats that they'd paid extra for. I'm 6 feet 4 inches and usually try to purchase seats with extra legroom. If I don't, I would never ask someone to switch to me because I'm tall. If you offered unprompted, then all your drinks would be on me. Wi-Fi as well. Not the asshole. He wanted to be cheap and leave seat selection to chance. Next time tell the person you can switch for $400, they'd quickly leave you alone. Stop right there. You paid extra for your seat. They could have done the same thing. As a consistent traveler, I am so tired of families with babies, couples or tall, big feeling that they should have the seat I paid for. Nope. Go away and have a great day. And be sure to glare at me for 12 hours. No way are you the asshole. No, no, no. In fact, you should have notified flight attendant that said passenger was harassing you by constantly banging into your seat. If it continued, then you should have asked the flight attendant to notify police that you would like to press assault charges on said passenger and to have them standing by upon landing. You should still be reaching out to the airline and complaining that on-flight staff failed to keep you safe from an aggressive passenger. Not the asshole. Should have filed a police report afterwards since he repeatedly assaulted you after not getting his way. If he wanted extra legroom, then he should have paid for a seat with extra legroom instead of trying to intimidate you into giving him your seat for free. He wouldn't want to bother other men, because he's a coward who is only prepared to try to bully women. Not the asshole. He didn't pay. You did. And it sounds like there are a lot of other things to hate about him. For the rest of the flight he would walk past for no reason, slamming into me. I was sitting aisle. You should have complained to the attendants. Not the asshole. A lack of planning on his part does not constitute an emergency on your end. You paid for the seat, you get the extra room. That's it. Next time maybe he'll plan ahead and book extra legroom. Not he targeted you because you are a woman and thought you would acquiesce. Good for you for standing your ground. He refused, saying he wouldn't want to bother other men. Not the asshole. Misogynist shit. Should have paid for extra legroom if it was so important to him, rather than picking on someone he thought wouldn't be able to fight back. As a 6 feet 5 inches person, I know the risk I run if I don't choose to purchase my seat early and make sure I have a first row or exit row. Not the asshole. That's harassment. You paid extra. It's your seat. You are never obligated to change seats with anyone else. Not your problem that he didn't pay extra. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. He got rude, decided to not ask a man because why? And was a general butthead because he couldn't bully you into giving up your premium seat. If it was so important to him, he should have done a better job booking his seat. Maybe I would have switched for $200. Not the asshole. I'm 6'3" and I know exactly what I'm getting into every time I book a flight. I know I'll be cramped for legroom and either accept he'll be uncomfortable or upgrade for more legroom. Not the asshole. He said he wouldn't want to bother other men? That right there changes this from sorry, no, I booked early and paid extra, to go back to your own fucking seat, coward. 4 feet 9 inches checking in. If tall people don't have to stand at the back of concert venues, then we don't have to sit in the back of planes. You bought your ticket fair and square. Not the asshole. So he wanted to try to bully a woman. Good on you for standing your ground. Unless he suddenly grew a lot in one day, you did exactly what you should have done. He knows he's tall, he should know that if he wants more space he needs to spend some money on it and be on time to do so. Not the asshole. He probably picked you since he probably thought he can bully you into giving it up. Tell the next person thus next time, spring some money for reserve seat instead of picking on the little people. I'm 6 feet 5 inches and you are not the asshole. He can also pay for premium seat and choose not to. Not the asshole. He saw you as an easy target to steal your $55. I'm really glad you didn't give in. Well done. Not the asshole. He wouldn't want to bother other men. Well then I guess he's really not that uncomfortable. Am I the asshole? For refusing to give up my airplane seat? No. What if they? No. How about? No. Didn't want to bother other men. LOL. Not the asshole. What a weasel. Fuck no. Not the asshole. It's your seat, you paid for it. How tall he is not your problem. Not the asshole. Notice he wouldn't bother other men or couples, so the fact she was female is why he was doing this. But he refused, saying that he wouldn't want to bother other men or split up couples. What he was really saying is he probably couldn't bully them into changing with him. Not the asshole. You should have flagged the attendant every time he bumped into you. Am I the asshole? For telling a female coworker to cover up? I F23 work in tech. We have a pretty large office of about 50 people. Many people here are used to working from home since the pandemic, so dress code at the office is pretty casual. Jeans and jumpers mostly. I was really worried to integrate with an actual office, but it has been really chill so far. The only problem has been Beatrice, who has worked in offices a lot longer than a lot of us younger workers have. Beatrice is in her 50s and still tries to act like the queen bee of the office. We mostly just ignore her advice, and try to get our work done. She has an array of complaints about any number of things in the office, but chief among them is how cold the office is. We work in a southern part of the country and it approaches 90 most days, even in October, so everyone in the office is fine with the AC being set at 72. With the strong fans in our office, it often feels cooler. Beatrice tends to wear low-cut cardigans and pullovers and no bra. This will be important later. She constantly complains how cold it is in the office, even though we all tell her to put on an extra layer. One day in the lunchroom she said, "I must be so lucky to not feel the cold with my extra layer of blubber. I have a little extra fat, but I am working down after struggling with an ed." This really stung me, and I said maybe she should stop dressing like she works at Hooters if she wants to stay warm. She walked stiffly out of the room. My co-worker told me she heard her crying in the bathroom. I feel bad for making her cry, but I also felt really offended. She implied only a fat person could be comfortable in the AC. I dress reasonably. Edit. She has made multiple comments about my outfits not fitting. I am MTF and I cannot wear all the outfits in my wardrobe perfectly. ESH, where is HR in this company? ESH. Co-workers should not comment on each other's bodies or clothes. It is inappropriate. If clothes truly are an issue, that is where HR needs to get involved. That being said, something about comparing her a Hooter waitress feels demeaning in a way that I can't quite put my finger on it. You made a direct reference to her breasts, which clearly indicates you've been looking. That is a general no in the workplace. You better hope she doesn't accuse you of sexual harassment. Not the asshole. She insults you on your weight and you fire back with an absolute gem and she gets upset about it. Beatrice needs to learn to take it if she's gonna sling it. ESH. You're both professionals and you need to act like it. If there's a problem, take it to HR. ESH. She called you fat. You called her a slut. Both of you are not professional. ESH. Beatrice, by your age, you should know that it isn't appropriate to talk about other people's bodies at work. Kidding, kidding. Yeah, she was being awful with the blubber comment, but you didn't have to sink to her level with the Hooters comment. ESH. Neither of you should police what anyone wears to the office. And to me, it's an R move to suggest that someone shouldn't dress the way they want to instead of finding a compromise with respect to the AC. Having said that, I find my office to be a frozen tundra and I bring an electric blanket. ESH, it's a professional working environment. You should have been a mature adult and reported her to HR instead of stooping to her level. ESH, it's understandable that you don't like this co-worker, and she is offensive, but you jumped right to policing another woman's clothing as a reaction to her policing yours. So it's not like you are opposed to body policing or making shitty comments about a woman's choices. You're perfectly fine with doing the same shitty thing you're complaining about your co-worker doing if given an opportunity or justification. ESH. How do you know she doesn't goes braless for sensory or health reasons? She shouldn't have commented on your body, but now you're both going to be in trouble with HR. ESH, but you're way worse off than she is around the office. BC, unfortunately nobody cares about fat shaming, but they do care a lot about sexual harassment, which she can definitely do. Not saying it's right, just saying it is what it is and you probably just played yourself. Line up alternate employment JIC. ESH. Also, working in tech and casual clothing has nothing to do with the pandemic. I'm married to a programmer whose work attire has always been khaki shorts and t-shirts like every other developer in his office. ESH, for her nasty unwarranted remark about your weight, but if you're a professional in an office setting, you should behave that way and complain through proper channels. Or, at the very least, not be in the office on the clock when you fire back also, sorry but 72, really? Isn't the fact that you all are wearing sweaters when it's 90 degrees outside a hint that the AC is turned on too low? I understand wanting to be cool comfortable, but I'll die on the hill of if you have to wear a sweater inside in the hot months, your AC is on too low. ESH, she shouldn't have commented on your weight and you shouldn't have sexualized her appearance. ESH, her comment to you was very disrespectful. However, you were equally as bad by throwing back an insult. You should have walked away and reported that comment to your manager or HR. ESH, I once had a toxic supervisor comment on my weight loss in a negative way when I was a junior staff member. I just said please do not comment on my body calmly and firmly and walked away. Helped that I wasn't scared of her. She was useless, but doesn't sound that you're scared of yours either, so I think practice standing up for yourself and setting boundaries might help in the long run so you can react professionally instead of lashing out. ESH. Neither the fat shaming nor the slut shaming is okay. I totally get why you're frustrated with her, but your comment was out of line as well. Not the asshole Beatrice was stirring the shit pots and you just handed her the spoon and made her take a taste. Edit spelling. ESH. Cold offices suck. She was wearing a sweater. You shouldn't have to wear multiple layers to feel comfortable indoors. ESH. She was out of line for commenting on your weight and you were out of line for commenting on her attire in a way that HR will most certainly construe as sexual harassment. You're the asshole and not very smart for saying sexual comments like that at work. Even if it was said nicely, you're not her boss. Grow up a bit and don't react like a teenager. ESH. You both act like children, but your slut-shaming as a newer employee is going to get you in much more trouble than her fat-shaming comment as an established employee. Also, why are you so concerned with her not wearing a bra? Your comment said that we'd see the relevance later, but I don't see it. Lol, this is comeback gold, but ESH because you were at work and that is wildly unprofessional of both of you. You're the asshole. She made a rude comment and your response was sexual harassment. You're the asshole. Insulting someone is always bad, without exception. Her comment was out of line, too. Why do you care so much about her opinions? Ignore her if you don't agree and live your life. You're the asshole. After reading comments. Info, you say she acts like a queen bee. What does that mean? Does she not do her job? If she's been there a long time, she has seniority over you. Do you think you're superior to her? Honestly, if it's hot out, why not bring the AC down and everyone wear something less hot than a jumper? That seems like a huge waste of energy and money. Stop looking at your co-worker's cleavage. Worry about yourself. Be a professional. ESH, but you more and I can see you getting in trouble with that comment at work. ESH. You both acted pretty immature, especially for being in a work setting. Also, like, the Hooters comment kinda implies some kind of prejudice on their part. That NGL seems pretty misogynistic. Same about the comment she made too. She has a very shitty view on fatness. I'm sorry she made fun of you too, but yeah, you didn't have the best reaction. Not the asshole, but I'd be careful about making comments like that. You could end up in deep shit. Next time, just tell HR. But also, who cares what someone else is wearing to their casual office? In an ideal world, this would be a simple tit for tat. This is not an ideal world, and what you did would be considered sexual harassment. She would get written up, you'd get fired if this goes high enough. ESH. To after reading comments. ESH. Both of you are making inappropriate comments for a professional workplace. One was potential fat shaming, but the other was definitely sexual harassment. Am I the asshole? For threatening my brother to mortgage the house? My father had fallen seriously ill a while back, and had to be admitted to the hospital. The issue, though, is that my brother was against giving him treatment. When my girlfriend and I told him that he was not well, he refused to admit him there. He said that my dad was old, and that injecting unnecessary medicines would just cause him more suffering and prolong it. That he deserved to pass away peacefully at home. I told him that was ridiculous and that I am going to get him treated. He flipped out at that and said he should be the one making the decision as he's older and that I have no idea what I am talking about. I said I don't care, and that he can't stop me from getting my father medical treatment. He and his girlfriend protested, but I wouldn't budge. He asked me how I would pay the money as it would be really expensive. I told him I will use what I can, but that I would mortgage the house by asking my father to give me power of attorney if funds were low. He was conscious even though he was really unwell. He got mad at that and said I can't threaten to spend his inheritance or blackmail him, and to mind my language. But as I wouldn't back down, he reluctantly agreed with it. He didn't accompany me immediately but showed up to the hospital later to check on him, etc. He was also having a long conversation with my dad in private with his girlfriend and seemed to care a lot now. But he's not talking to me because he said I don't know how to respect him and that I was being really discourteous, etc. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. X200B. 1. I realize it might be an uncomfortable conversation to have, but you need to discuss this with your father and see what he would like to do regarding treatment. X200B. 2. Your brother is a huge jar not only because he is not entitled to anything your dad has, but the fact that your dad is not even dead and all he can think is how much money he gonna get is just. Not the asshole. And this, people, is why you should always have power of attorney and power of medical attorney papers drawn up as soon as you can. I hope your dad can tell you what he wants and get those papers signed along with a DNR. ESH except dad. You and your brother need to both sit with him and discuss this now. How does he want to pass? And if the house is written as his inheritance, then you can't mortgage it against both their wishes. Time to stop thinking about rudeness. This is literally life and death. You have to face it yourself one day, and the courtesy of doing so before they die is important. Your dad is still alive, so it is his asset, not your brother's inheritance, nor yours to mortgage. You don't mention any competency issues for your father if he is competent enough to sign a power of attorney. He is also currently competent enough to make his own decisions about a mortgage. ESH. Why are you and your brother not even consulting your father about what he wants? Info. How old is your father? ESH. What does your dad want? I see no mention of what he wants. Neither of you seem to have actually taken the effort to talk to him, considering he is conscious. ESH. 1. Talk with your dad about what he wants to do. 2. Don't talk to your brother about what he wants to do for your dad. ESH. Except your dad. It is his decision. You're the asshole. Neither of you have even talked to your dad about treatment, but certainly have ironclad opinions. He's of sound mind. He gets to decide how he's treated. He gets to decide how it's paid for. He gets to decide if the house is mortgaged. You both suck. If the hospital has a palliative care team, get them involved. It's their job to help patients and families discuss end-of-life care. If they don't have it, speak with his physician. Bottom line is, if your father is competent, the decision is his. I would ask your dad what he wants. But he's not talking to me because he said I don't know how to respect him. Your brother is a lot of significant and negative choice words, and I wouldn't trust him to not do something wicked behind your back. Take legal precautions now, and your brother needs to kick rocks. It's entirely likely he's refusing treatment for your dad so he dies sooner, and gets his money. That's the only reason he and his GF showed up now. It was concern. For the cash. Not the asshole. ESH. You should study palliative care. You're the asshole, and a huge one. If your father doesn't want care and wants to live out his final days at home because he's unwell, The right thing to do is contact a palliative care physician and discuss hospice. If he's that unwell, forcing medical care on him is cruel and inhumane. Let your father die with dignity if those are his wishes. Forcing him to get care he doesn't want is so incredibly selfish of you. Your brother is right, you are so profoundly wrong. Your brother didn't want your dad to have medical treatment because he didn't want to spend his inheritance on it. That's as cold as fuck. Your poor dad isn't even dead yet. TBH, I'd be watching bro very carefully around your dad. Not the asshole. Needs more info. How old is your dad? What is he sick with? What does your dad want regarding treatment? This shouldn't be up to either of you unless your father is unable to make decisions, and then decisions should be made with his wants in mind. It seems like you are both thinking only of yourself, although your brother is definitely the asshole for the comment about the inheritance. Nah, tough decision. Not sure if he's being callous to be greedy or if you're planning to blow money in a futile effort. You're the asshole judging by your comments. All I hear is me, and even if your father chose no treatment, you would force him for your own benefit. After reading your comments I am going with ESH. Except your father. Your brother is being greedy and only thinking about the money. However, you are also in the wrong for not asking your father what he wants. In a situation like this where he is doing poorly and most likely won't make it very long, it is up to the person who is ill to decide what they do. If he wants to go, then that is his choice, and as hard as it would be you have to let him go. If he chooses treatment, then again, his decision. It's not yours or your brother's decision to make. Not the asshole. Your brother wants your father to die for his inheritance. I've seen it far more often than you'd think. It's disgusting what money does to people. Is he sick with a treatable condition? This is so vague. As in, if he's sick with something he could recover from with treatment, your brother is a complete monster. If you're pushing your father into having chemo to extend his life for 6 months, that should only be done if your father wants it. It's hard to say who's right with the details.